Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was tough.
it really was.
She's Sara Lesky. I'm Jamie Thomas.
Yeah.
Yes, I finally got to do it.
That's where you're gonna get you.
We need a voice guy.
We do. Rod Smith. That
Yep.
would be great.
You're buds with him.
I should ask Smitty if he'll do something for us.
Just tell him to do it in his phone, and then we'll put it at the beginning.
It'd be fantastic.
Okay.
We are getting you set for today's game against the Montreal Canadiens. John Bartlett from Sportsnet is going to join us as well. Montreal played last night. They also struggled. They lost to Ottawa last night. I believe words humiliating was often used by the media. It was not good. Words were similar words. Embarrassing were used to describe the Jets' loss in their game against Buffalo. So both teams looking to rebound. So hopefully it'll be a great game tonight at the Bell Center.
Well, there's some good news coming up, but we will start with this. The other night, that was tough.
It
as
sure
I
was.
said.
Let's just talk about it briefly because it's been talked about
a lot.
There's
been a lot of time to breathe.
Yeah.
Over it.
We know the frustrations that many people felt watching it, of
right.
course.
So I think the best way they lose 5-1 to Buffalo, down 3-0 after the first. Eric Comrie gets pulled. Thomas Mills comes in. They get close. But we'll get to that in a second. But let's hear what Dylan DeMello had to say after the game.
We can't hang our heads. We can't feel sorry for ourselves. No one's going to be throwing us a lifesaver here and helping us out. We got to figure it out, and we got a big game, against the Habs, and hopefully get that one and get that good feeling back again.
See, it's that simple.
I love sticking with our themes that we've talked a lot about with respect to soup. James Robinson, my soup tastes like hot dog water and sadness after that game, which might be
James Robinson. That is brilliant.
That pretty much sums it up.
Because if you've ever looked at hot dog water, doesn't look at all edible.
No, nor does it smell good.
No.
Yeah.
So good job, James. That's good. That's a good.
Yeah. So look, it was a 5-1 loss against Buffalo. It wasn't just the fact that they didn't get the 2 points. It's how they played.
It's the start again.
Yeah.
So you had the tough night in Raleigh, and then you have the veterans responding quickly against Nashville. So you're like, okay, they're on the right track here.
No.
Early penalty.
Yeah.
Power play goal. I think it was 13 seconds later. They had another one, completely blown coverage in the defensive zone, and Bowen Byram to make it 2-0. So there's just a lot of things coming into that game where you're stuff they have to readdress in some ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what happens to it. Afterwards, obviously, a lot of the talk too was that it took quite a while for the room to open up to the media that was in Buffalo.
Because it's supposed to open 10 minutes after the.
Yes. So there are NHL guidelines that tell you exactly that teams have to have the room opened within 10 minutes of the end of the game. It was much longer in Buffalo, and found out afterwards that it was a player-only meeting called by Adam Lowry, as described by Scott Arniel.
Sometimes it happens and you don't know it. Maybe it's after I speak to them, but tonight that was them. That was Loud taking it. So you're hoping that the response into our next game is a lot better than what it was tonight. We're a veteran group. Recognize we just embarrassed ourselves, and we're going to have to be a heck of a lot better next one.
It's been a struggle at times this year to kind of come up with that identity, play that same way, play a full 60, string games together. And, so for whatever reason, we just weren't able to do it again tonight. Yeah.
So the best world, and we said this after the loss at Raleigh for the Nashville pregame show, is like you move on. That's the NHL. There's another game around the corner.
Yeah, but they need to respond. I mean, you obviously can't have a similar, even if you don't come out with a win tonight, that the game, the style of game has to look different. And especially you're going up, I mean, Buffalo looked so fast.
Yes.
They certainly used their speed to their advantage. Montreal is a team that, while they have had their own struggles and in many ways have mirrored
quick.
Winnipeg in terms of standings, points percentage, that sort of thing. They are very quick, and they are the youngest team in the NHL right now. And so they are the type you look at Nick Suzuki in the season that he's having, Cole Caulfield. This is a team that can take advantage and make you pay if you come out slow the way that the Jets did the other day.
Right. You can even look at there's two, Nick Suzuki and Mark Scheifele in particular, are two guys that want to get themselves into the conversation or be a part of Team Canada when the Olympics begin in February, and the team's announced the beginning part of January. So Mark Scheifele's on pace for career best. I believe Nick Suzuki's the same thing. So Montreal got the same hot start as Winnipeg did and are coming back to earth a little bit, but you're looking at a team that's young and, understandably you can make those types of mistakes, whereas other side of things is the Jets are a veteran group that we've heard a lot of.
Yeah.
You don't expect to see those mistakes because of the way that the thing they built in the last 3 years is the expectation is to play tough defensively. So it's just been really hard to see them struggle the way they have with the system that's been put in place.
Yeah, there's, with the fact that Adam Lowry called that players meeting after the game. And if you haven't had the opportunity, Mike McIntyre with Winnipeg Free Press is on the road trip, and he wrote, I thought, a really good article where he spoke to Adam just from the captain's standpoint of it. And Adam spoke in it about how this is the first time really that they've struggled since he was captain. There's quote, this was going into the game against Buffalo. When things aren't going well, it can feel like you're pushing a boulder up a hill. It seems to get heavier and heavier. And then we just saw it even more so, obviously, in that game. But so people wanted to know afterwards, everybody playing armchair coach, GM.
We all do.
Every change that, people feel that should be made. So what changes are going to be made for the game against Montreal? And we look, morning skate finished just a short while ago, and there are changes to the line. So this is what the projected lines are going into this game here tonight.
First off, the guy in the background.
Yes, returns.
Yeah.
How great is it to see that? But you take a look at the changes. So the change that happened up front, and let's start up front. Your first three lines are staying the same. I think it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, they don't have last change. How they are deployed and whether or not, if things aren't going, getting off to the start they want, is it something that Scott O'Neill maybe puts a little bit into the blender with it? But on that fourth line, Cole Koepke draws back in. On the blue line is where you see the most changes. And that would be Neil Pionk after missing the last 4 games. He was injured in the game against Minnesota. He draws back in. So that'll be great to see him with Dylan Sandberg. We know the success that those two have together. And then Elias Salomonson comes back in. This will be his 3rd game. He played 2 games to start this road trip, played over 16 minutes and over 19 minutes in his 2 games. And he draws in for Luke Shen. He will be on a pairing with Logan Stanley.
Right. It's always great to see Neil Pionk, one of the best guys within that dressing room. And here he is in Montreal after the morning skate.
How you feeling? Ready to go?
Feel great. Yeah, ready to go. Excited to get back in.
How close have you maybe been in the last game or two? Were you pushing for it, or you have to listen to what the trainers tell you?
Just do as I'm told. Yeah, it was just a touchy sort of thing. So I'm taking the doctor's advice and the trainer's advice and making sure I'm ready to go.
Is it going back to the injury in that game? You throw a hit, we see you do that all the time. Just something weird sort of happened there that you didn't totally expect?
Yeah, something felt off. Something felt like I've never felt before. Went and got some scans later and found out what it was. So thankfully it wasn't anything major.
Right.
But yeah, just a little thing that was making sure it was fully healed before I get back in.
So that's the good news. Some of the good news anyways. And when you lose the way you do, there's going to be lineup changes, but the adding of Neil Pionk at the end of this 5-game road trip has to be looked upon as a bonus because of how much success him and Dylan Sandberg have had. Dylan Sandberg has struggled a little bit too. It's not often you see him on the ice for a goal against, but there's that chemistry between those two players that you have to see. Pionk, that's awesome. This is the chemistry between those two players that makes them both successful. I think Pionk had like 4 points in the 4 games. Those two were back together after Sandberg had come back from his broken wrist.
Yeah, talking about the need for speed. That Cole Koepke is one that brings a little bit of speed into the lineup as well on
physicality.
That. Yeah, and we'll be on that 4th line with Morgan Barron and Tanner Pearson. And he spoke to the media in Montreal this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to come out tonight and try to make a positive impact on the game whenever I'm out there and try and bring some speed and physicality to it. And hopefully we can right the ship here and get a win.
No player wants to sit out, but I imagine when you signed with the Jets and you saw depth and whatnot, maybe did you think like there could be some times when you're fighting to stay in the lineup? And what's that kind of been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously never want to be out of the lineup or expect yourself to be out of the lineup, but it's the nature of the business, and there's a lot of good players on this team, so it definitely can happen. And yeah, I've just been trying to work hard and work with Marty on a couple specific things, and like I said, just come in and try and put my best foot forward and help the team any way I can.
He didn't say what the specific things are, which was always
Right.
like, what specifically were you working on? But he draws in for Gus Nyquist, the free agent signing, a healthy scratch in this game, or we anticipate to be a healthy scratch, 6 assists in 20 games. Obviously, even though there have been elements of Nyquist's game where you see that maybe it's coming along. I mean, they need
Especially
more
here at
production from
home.
him.
So that 3-game homestand, I thought he was really turning a corner, but it's just for whatever reason, it's just not working right on the road. So changes have to be made, and Cole Koepke has always infused energy into the lineup whenever he's on the ice.
Yeah, so the Jets now 7-7 on the road, 13-12. They remain on the outside of the playoff picture. Montreal at home, 6-1. They are also on the outside of the playoff picture in the East, but you look at that Atlantic vision and they are so close. I mean, a win tonight, and they're now a win tonight, and the Canadiens would be second
Right.
potentially in the division.
That-
So, I mean, there's just
Well, look at Buffalo. Like, they were in the bottom. Well, they still are sitting around, but they're not that far out of the playoff picture either. Of course, the Jets will see Buffalo here on Friday at Canada Life Center for a 1-game homestand. I mean, it's insane how close everything is, and that's why when you see conversations about trades have to be made, everybody's in the same position outside of Calgary and Nashville, I would say, in the entire National Hockey League. So those trades just aren't going to happen overnight. They're not going to, there's one move isn't going to change things for you. And as like Kevin Cheveldayoff had told Mike McIntyre in the Winnipeg Free Press as well, that it's just like, we have to look for these things internally.
yeah.
Obviously there's enough people within that dressing room that have had success with this team before. So I could see why there's not that urgency right now. Just there's the group there. They have to figure this out.
Yeah. And look, there's no doubt something is off right now with them. It's a matter of being able to right the ship. So will a win tonight solve everything? No, it won't, but it will certainly go
Then you can say you
a long
won 2 of
way.
your last 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it will go a long way to at least getting that feeling hopefully back into the room as they return home. Because we've talked about it. December is a challenging month. You've got Connor Hellebuck that is sidelined. What do we figure? Maybe after Christmas? I mean, probably not before Christmas if you're looking in that 4 to 6 week time range. That's another 10 games, including tonight, at least, that you figure that you're going to be without him. And while I don't put it on Comrie or Millich, when you look at the numbers without Connor Hellebuck right now,
Let's throw that up.
you had it.
There it is. That is the game notes for me. So this is the goaltending split since November 21st prior to the December 2nd game. Goals against 23. That's 32nd in the National Hockey League.
Yeah.
Goals against average 3.83. Like, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
Where anything is above 3, and that's way closer to 4. 28th, and then save percentage 874, 23rd. So you kind of look at the Jets and you look at 3 players in particular that you're like, okay, it would be very challenging to play without these guys. Connor Hellebuck, obviously number 1. Number 2, you'd have to think Mark Scheifele, your number 1 center, and then Josh Morrissey, your number 1 defenseman. It's just how hard it is to be without those guys. With the parity in the league, those are your players that you have to have with you. So those numbers are very eye-opening without Connor Hellebuck. I know there's a lot of faith in Eric Comrie and obviously Thomas Millich, but it's also the team. This is a team game and how they're playing around both those goaltenders. But it just goes to show you how
It's a good
great.
thing that he can't renegotiate his contract.
Yeah. Because this would be the time.
This would be the time.
Yeah. Excuse me. Slide that across the table.
This, I think I'm even more important than
Right.
perhaps some people realize.
So he's already signed his name on the dotted line here for extended period of time. But everyone just said, it's not easy to replace a Hart Trophy winner and a Vezina Trophy winner. That's
No.
flat out. And you've seen that, obviously.
Well, and that's why when you hear about people saying, oh, are they going to make trades, and whether you talk about, yes, people talk about trying to get younger up front, but then also in net, there's been speculation out there. Could they be looking, could they be trying to bring someone in, or would someone be of interest bring in? But, and I can't remember who said this. It might have been Steve Koulias yesterday on Winnipeg Sports
Right.
Talk, but it was whoever's playing whoever's in net right now, if the Jets continue to play the way that they have been the last few games, it's not going to matter.
Right.
You're not going to win that way. They have to get back to the DNA, to the structure that has made this team successful. And a win tonight, is that doesn't cure all, but it certainly goes a long way to taking that first step.
So Mitchell Clinton had tweeted about an hour ago, said head coach Scott Arniel says Connor Hellebuck is close to getting back on the ice.
Which is great news.
Timeline still hasn't changed, but team will be cautious. Arniel said, quote, I'm going to make sure he has 4 yellow, those are non-contact jerseys on. So not messing around at all. And that goes to show you the value of Connor Hellebuck. And listen, you don't only appreciate somebody until they're gone. And now you're at this point where, holy moly.
Yeah.
And then the way the schedule is right now, so it feels like a little bit of urgency in some aspects, but there's a lineup change tonight. You have a feeling. Adam, our boss, is like, this is a Comrie night.
For it.
Yeah.
Well, you need a response, right? Anytime that you've had, especially the closed door meeting afterwards, you look to see how the group responds as a whole.
And we're going to find that out tonight. And should be a great game. We're so lucky to have the contacts that we do in your phone. John Bartlett's calling the game tonight for Sportsnet. He has called many games inside the Montreal Forum, and John Bartlett joins us now on the show. Hey, buddy.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Great. Montreal's goaltender, Jakub Dobiš. Sarah and I want to know, what's a name that has given you nightmares over your National Hockey League career of calling games? Because I was thinking, like Stanislav Neshkash. Remember his last name was spelled Necker. And that one made no sense to me at all. So, and I remember we were talking about names overall in sports. What was yours again?
Oh, there was a whole bunch. Football ones would sometimes give me anxiety going into halftime interviews.
Because there's new guys coming in all the time in the CFL, so I could see why you would.
And pronunciation guides, not usually a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Not available.
Not available.
TBD.
What about you?
Geez, some good names to. Dobiš is pretty easy. Sometimes it's the ones that look different. Like Nakash would have been a good example of something that doesn't sound anything like it looks like, right? So those are usually the ones that trip you up. But there's a great funny story, since it's the Jets playing Montreal tonight. When Jonas Hoagland played here, and Pat Hickey, the writer for the Montreal Gazette, went up to ask him when he was here and said, just want to check, we want to know, is it Jonas or Jonas? And he says, well, it's pronounced Jonas, but you can call me Jonas, because he couldn't say the J anyway. So it's kind of funny, when you and then you get the guys that are like, it doesn't matter, whatever, either way. Well, it does matter. So we try.
Jay Bomeister was that. He was like, doesn't matter. I'm like, no, it does actually. When he was with the Medicine Hat Tigers and when he came in the National Hockey League. So.
Yeah. How about you get brothers in the same family that pronounce it differently?
Okay, yes.
Caberla.
How about ones that change the pronunciation multiple times while they're in the league?
Yeah.
It's Cristobal Ue, Cristobal, like, no, you don't get to change it all the time. How do you pronounce Zach Parise?
How about Armia? Joel Armia was Joel Armia, and then he gets to Montreal, he's Joel.
Yeah, Joel Armia, yeah.
And then we look like idiots when he leaves Winnipeg. It's like,
this is how you pronounce my name. Really?
Yeah. Thank you, man. Yeah.
I know. It always makes it harder when they do that. Bob Cole used to always ask the player, he'd say, how would your mom say it? What does your mom say? And try to, use that as the guiding principle. So you got to go higher up in the family tree to figure out pronunciation of names, I guess, is the way you would do it.
Exactly. Well, because that also out of everybody, I don't know, maybe dads would be a little bit more relaxed about it. Moms would go, that's not how you pronounce my son's name.
Yeah, exactly.
Get that right.
Yeah. Remember Dean Chanel said that on the podcast, he said his mom phoned into a radio station in Saskatoon to get them to pronounce the name properly. So it's moms that lay down the hammer.
It's true. Yeah.
Moms know best, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Montreal. It's kind of almost the same story with Winnipeg. They get off to an incredible start. So what have you seen from them, John, and calling a bunch of their games? What's kind of slipped away from Montreal's game as of late?
I think the biggest difference for the Canadiens as of late, you're right, got off to the hot start. Things were going well. Everyone was slotted in the right spot in the lineup. And then you hit the injuries, and Laine was the first to go out. That one, okay. You kind of worked through that one. But I think losing Alex Newhook, who had a great season going this year, was probably playing the best hockey he's played in years. And Kirby Dach was having a renaissance year as well. He was both of them were playing very well. So you lost some of that strength down the middle, and you lost a bit of that extra forward depth they've had. And since then, with the two of them out, I found that they've struggled more trying to get that rhythm back up front that they had going at the start of the year that was so successful for them. So Caden Gooley being out longer than they thought, they were still doing okay. I mean, in a long term, yes, you need Caden Gooley back. That's going to be a big help on the blue line. They were sustaining that for a while, but not having Gooley. But then when you lost what was going on up front too, and you lost a bit of that mojo with Newhook and Dach going up for extended periods, that's where I feel they've had their struggles since. I know the goaltending is a whole other conversation, but when you're talking about the forwards, I really have felt since Newhook and Dach have been out of the lineup, that's where things started to get a little more dicey for Montreal. And you know, in reality, that's where they are in the rebuild right now too. I think they are a very good hockey team. They just don't have the depth support yet. It's coming. There's guys in Laval and everything that are coming in as an organization, and it'll be there. But right now, they're good when everyone's there, but that depth is not just ready yet to back them up. And that's a bit of the growing pain I think they're in right now. And that's why I think we're seeing a bit of the struggle that they've had in this last month of November, at least. When you lose Newhook and Dach, that rest of that support isn't quite just there ready yet. And so it's a challenge for them.
When you look at their loss last night against Ottawa, and I was reading some of the headlines and different articles, and obviously concerned, similar to Winnipeg losing to Buffalo the other night. I was, everybody concerned about how they lost. What sort of response do you expect to see from this Montreal team tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I would think there should be a good response. It's always when you get the back-to-back and you get a chance to get right back at it. I think that's always a helpful thing. But they've been off to great starts this year in the first period. They score a lot. The second period is actually an area that they really struggle. And I felt last night it was the second period that got away on them. They've allowed 38 second period goals this year. And that's, I think it's a minus 13 differential, which is second worst in the NHL. So that's a tough period when you get out of the gate starting well. And then now you're into that game in the second, and they have these moments where it turns on them in the second period, and it got away from them. And that's what happened last night. I felt in the Ottawa game, that second period got away, and the Senators, had a stretch there of 5-6 minutes or whatever that kind of turned the game on them, and then they're chasing the game. Now, earlier in the year, they were very successful at come from behind wins and have the firepower to come back. But right now, when you don't have that, as I talked about with that same sort of mix and power in the lineup, it's a little tougher to do that coming from behind. So, that's one area I think they really have to sort of try to figure out. Why is it they can get off to the great start, but then have that dip in the second period? So that's what I think got them against Ottawa last night.
John, a long time ago, I read this article in Sports Illustrated. It's talking about the 10 worst jobs in sports. And number 6, and I always remember this, it's the play-by-play announcer of a bad team. Sarah kind of said, she had an argument to that. She said it would be harder to be an analyst because, as she said, her argument was play-by-play, you guys just tell what's going on, and the analyst has to kind of go along with it. So what would be tougher for a really bad team to be the play-by-play person or the analyst?
I would say the analyst.
Why do people always take your side on it?
Yeah. Well, because in the play-by-play, we're just telling you what's going on. We're not. Yeah. There's no script. We didn't write the script. We're just painting the picture. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when something happens, we're saying what happened. We didn't do it. We didn't create it. We didn't spoil the shutout. We didn't force the hat trick. We're just talking about what's going on. So even for an analyst side to say, like, is it harder? I think. Yeah, I mean, it's always, I think, a little easier if you're talking about a winning team or involved with a winning team. That goes for any position. I think trainers probably have a better time at a winning team, right? But on the play-by-play side of things, you're talking about what's going on. So we have no control over it. It just happens what happens, and you talk about it. So I would think out of that scenario, what you're asking, I would think the analysts would have a tougher time.
you feel better?
Well, I mean, I knew I was right.
Right.
Anybody, I mean, I'm not saying that your opinion was wrong,
Right.
but just ours.
Uh-huh.
was
All you're
better.
bringing
So hold on,
Yeah.
Sarah. Is that what that text you sent me before the show is? Please just agree with me. on
That's right.
something? Is that what that meant? Yeah. Okay.
100%.
Just make sure Jamie's wrong. Okay. All right. That's what that meant.
Right.
Gotcha.
I mean, I think that I sent that probably to you last year, and it just applies.
It just applies
across the
in
board.
general.
It's just a standing rule that we have.
Copy and paste. It just
That's
sends out. Make sure
exactly.
you agree with me and Jamie's always wrong.
Just quickly, when you think about the league as a whole, for what is it that's now that we are into December with it, and even though we still talk about how the quarter mark just went by, no, I mean we are into December now. I think that we are getting a real sense of what teams' identities are across the board. What is it that stood out to you so far, John, about this season when it comes to the NHL?
That I think we're in the beginning stage, if not into it now, of a changing of the guard. I know Elliot Friedman's talked about this a couple times on 32 Thoughts, and I agree with him. The East is incredibly tight. There's, the gap between top and bottom is not very big, and the East is wide open. However, the West is different. So on an Eastern side of things, I think it's tighter, and I think it's still anyone's game to get into the playoffs. However, that being said, I think we're starting to see a little change. I think we're starting to see some teams that were on a run. Maybe now it's going to be a little more difficult. Some teams that have taken that next step and are moving up now and starting to gain foothold on where they're going. The West, Colorado is an absolute machine right now. I mean, that is unbelievable. And that's sort of the swing back for them, right? So they're on a tear after last year, and they're on a mission. But even in the West, and this is the tough part for the Jets right now. How many, and this is what we talk about changing the guard, how many of the last couple of years when we talk about the Central, it's been Winnipeg, Colorado, and Dallas.
Yeah.
Winnipeg, Colorado, almost automatic. Minnesota would be in and out of that third spot, the wild card, almost automatic. Colorado's up there, but now all of a sudden things look different, right? And it's not that same top three. Winnipeg is now in a wild card battle, which is different for them that they've had in the last couple of years. Utah is having a better year. They're in the mix and in the conversation now of things. The Oilers are having a bit of a struggle, and now it's going to be tough again for them, like a lot of teams. And I think we're starting to see that change. LA is, are they maturing to take sort of another step in a way? And Kopitar's last year, is that going to be, a big extra push for them? And even Minnesota, really, right? Like Minnesota is this year they get it going a little more. Maybe they figure out those other elements for it. So,
well, it's goaltending like what they're getting.
Yeah.
And the defensive, like
their structure.
They look like Winnipeg last year, like just shutting down teams.
Yeah, great. You know what? That's a great comparison, actually. Yeah. So when you look at all that,
he has to give me something.
Yeah, I gave you something. Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Is that what that meant? Give him something.
Oh, you just texted him. Thanks a lot.
It was your mom, actually, Jamie. Yeah, no, I think we're in a bit of a changing of the guard. I do. I think it's going to be tougher for the teams that have been in the mix, and the ones that are now getting in the mix are in the fight. So that's going to, in the end, we'll see what happens March and April. Who are the 16 that get in? But right now, I think we're really starting to see a little bit of a changing of the guard. And some teams we were waiting to see if they were going to build on. They're building. Montreal's an example. Detroit has got into it in the East a little more. Can Ottawa, with their goaltending question, are they going to be able to, when they get it going and things go, they go well, but same kind of issue. When it's tough for them, but they're in there. They're in that division mix. And then you have teams like Florida and Toronto that are hanging around with Buffalo and looking up going, all right, we're only a few points up, but we've got 6 teams to leapfrog to do it, right? So At least in the East, the points are really close where it might, you can go on a little bit of a run and bang, you're right on top of everyone again. But the West, especially with the gap being created by a couple there, you don't want to get too far behind now, because it's going to be a hard mountain to climb to get back in. So the teams that have been improving over the last couple of years are taking a step.
Buddy, I really appreciate the time. Thanks for doing this. Have a great call tonight. Always fun to call games in the Bell Center, I imagine. Haven't done that a couple of times, but appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, no problem. Looking forward to it. It's always fun when you get the all-Canadian matchup. So Winnipeg in town tonight will be a blast.
Looking forward to it. Thanks so much, John.
You bet. Take care, guys.
John Bartlett. You know what? You can tell John Bartlett's a television because look at the lighting behind him. He's got the perfect, he's got it all blacked out behind him. Perfect lighting on himself.
Yes.
He probably has a light guy in the room. So,
wow, you think?
Probably. That would be my
TV
guess.
people that just travel with.
Do I look good with this light or what? Should I use, what filter am I on right now?
Oh, it's so true. Look, obviously it's been a rough road trip for the Jets, but as they end off the road trip here today, thought that we would end off the show with something that maybe brings a little bit of, it's just a little bit more lighthearted.
Tyler Escobar's onto something here.
I like it a great deal. And especially when he's, talks about equipment with the players, a variety of different things. And here he is asking some of the players about their oldest piece of equipment.
What's your oldest piece of equipment? Like, what have you not changed?
Shoulder pads are probably since second year pro, so that's 12 years.
Oh, wow.
Probably my shin pads are probably 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
I never thought life would be so hard.
Shoulder pads I got when I was in Windsor, 10, 11, 12 years old. So they make lots of repairs on those. They're falling apart. And I have very old pads. These pads are designed maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Yeah. Don't fix what's not broken. So
that makes sense.
Shin pads, I've seen better days. They're pretty ripped up underneath. Actually, funny enough, I just changed my shoulder pads for the first time like last week.
Say shin pads are probably 10 plus maybe.
Good thing they're covered up with the socks then,
exactly.
is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyways, I always find anything with equipment entertaining. And I always find it.
People love equipment stuff, eh?
They do. But I always love hearing how some of the players, just how long they keep their equipment for and how it's hanging on by a thread or has been sewn up, 100 times. Or
a guy that I played hockey with in junior had the same undershirt and hadn't washed it in 10 years. We stole it and threw it in the garden, burned it because it smelled so bad.
Oh, I can only imagine. Back then too, everything.
But shin pads also big culprit of smelling badly.
Hey, if you have put your hockey equipment out in the house, I don't know, growing up, I didn't play hockey, but growing up, my dad has played. And so in the basement, you had to walk past all of the equipment airing out.
Yeah.
Whoa.
If you were in a long road trip with your parent, and you, there's three of us sometimes, we'd have one of us have to have a bag in the car. That was never fun.
No, fair enough.
No.
What we do hope will be fun tonight is
the game.
The game, absolutely. Look, the Jets looking to rebound. If we can quickly throw up the projected lines one more time as we take you out of today's show. There are changes. Neil Pionk returning to the lineup after missing the last 4 games.
Yeah.
Elias Salmonson drawing back in, which is great as well. Cole Koepke draws in for Gus Nyquist. So there are some changes. Your top 3 lines do remain the same. We will see whether or not they are able to solve some of the issues that they had, at least for one game, and put themselves in a better mood as they return home, because the Jets will play at home on Friday night. Hey, wouldn't you know, the Buffalo Sabres are in town. So
haven't seen them in a long time. Yeah.
So we'll see whether or not they will be able to rebound for that game as well. And then that's back-to-back games because they play in Edmonton the following night. So that'll be Saturday night. So
she's a busy week.
It is.
Your guys' optimism, appreciate
We
it.
love to see it.
Yeah.
You know what? You do have to have confidence that this is a team. You know the skill that is there. They're going through a rough patch right now. But however,
they still have answers, right? They're not going, I don't know.
For it.
Yeah.
However it gets fixed, you know that it will get fixed in one way or another, as the Jets are too strong of a team for this to continue for a really lengthy slide.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for watching us today, and Can I say it? Thanks for
Go
checking
for it.
in. Thanks
Go
for
for it.
checking in.
You got to wave while doing it. And thanks so much
For checking
for checking in.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys on Friday.